What is the best ranch rifle? First, we should know, what is a ranch rifle? Is it a marketing slogan, a relic of a bygone era, or is it an essential tool of many dimensions meant to pound back the rough edges? It is an active combination of efficiency, comfort, and personal attachments, a tool for men with the bark on, and maybe some soft reminiscence. Firing a cartridge that is good for taking predators and nuisance critters out to about 100 yards. Low recoil, quick cycling, and allows you to stay on target. Really, you're bringing a gun just in case, and your case is usually unknown, but somewhat known. This is not hunting. This is not selecting a cartridge and a rig for a specific engagement. You have to understand the purpose and then find your connection to the rifle. The folks that wield them expect an outcome that balances cost, labor, noise, a bristling nature, and death. I've carted around lever guns, pistolas, ARs galore, 10-22s, and cheap commie semi-autos that used to be cheap. I've walked with them, crossed muddy, slippery creeks with them. I've had them riding pillion, sandwiched between me and another, pointing down and sometimes with a rifle next to it. Access has to be quick without flagging other passengers, in the truck or in the side-by-side. This means that many mounts and plastic sleeves are out. Flip this, twist that, pull this cover off. Crap, the opportunity is gone. The peripatetic rancher has many stops and chores scattered around. The ranch rifle should be a good companion and not a pain to cart around or one that wears holes in leather. How loud is it? As likely we will not have ear protection on. Shots of opportunity are quick shots. Can our partner, kiddo, wife, or cooler-minding beverage-dispensing buddy use it without a tutorial and shouts of instruction? Ranching isn't just a day job. Can we use it in low-light conditions? Predators don't sit still. Can we shoot something on the move with it? Do we always need to kill DRT, dead right there? If we are trying to protect livestock or property, isn't wounding or disabling the predator upon initial contact acceptable? Dead right over there, or dead a little later, is sometimes better. That means no dragging off of carcasses, which is okay by me, especially when it's a skunk or a heavy hog. You can identify where it died later by the kettle of turkey buzzards. Well, that allowance opens us up to smaller bullets and less accurate rifles, optics, and scopes. Can we reload the gun? Does this even matter? How many times have we taken more than 1, 2, 3, 5 shots at a predator? The only time I have done this was with hogs. I had 4 young 170-ish pound males that I took with an AR-10 in .308. Headshot, dead hog. I was in stunned disbelief that the others didn't run. Second headshot, again, stunned disbelief as the remaining 2 just moved a little bit and looked in my direction. In for a penny, in for a pound. 2 shots on the next one and 2 shots on the 4th hog, all dead within 25 yards of the first downed hog. Once I walked into the edge of a motte to find a group of snoozing hogs. I took 4 of them with a Marlin 357 lever action. Head, head, gut, gut. 3 of the shots on moving hogs. The last at 80 yards, waiting for the nose of the piglet to break from behind a tree when I let the trigger fly. All the other times I have shot at coyotes, hogs, bobcats, skunks, raccoons, any others that were around took off. If I made a bad shot or needed a second shot, I didn't miss so much or wing them so poorly that I needed to reload my magazine. So, is it time to hit that's more important than accuracy? I remember hearing the term snap shooting when I was young. The NRA even published an article in 1923 instructing you to go out with your .22 and have a friend throw a large tomato can in the air, and you try to shoot it. Population density was a lot lower in 1923. Now that is how we are going to test the ranch rifle options, a little snap shooting. I've taken out a few rifles that commonly fit into the ranch rifle role to shoot with a friend. A true cowboy, Shorty. Some of these rifles he has used before, like the AR style during his Vietnam service, and his own Henry Classic .22 carbine. Shorty went to Quang Tri, Vietnam when he was 19. He used snap shooting as a combat engineer with his M16, but on full auto. Lessons were learned, and he dropped the valise of youth quickly. I laid them out on the porch and gave him some history about the why and how each of these rifles fit into the ranch rifle role. Surplus rifles used to be great ranch rifles, cheap and usually not the pretty one you want to dance with. They could be used as tools. Now they're collector items, fetching premiums. M1 carbines and SKS rifles used to be cheap. I remember $69 for an SKS with ammo and a sling, then $129 for the SKS alone, then $400, and now $1,000 or more if it came from the right factory. The Ruger Mini 14, heck, even Ruger slapped the name ranch rifle on it. This was never a cheap gun. Ruger likes the idea of a ranch rifle so much they named a second line of rifles after it. Does an AR fit that description? Yes, some do. This is where some subjective criteria needs to be applied. It can't have a cheese grater handguard that's going to chew up everything it rubs against. It can't weigh more than a T-post driver. It shouldn't have so much crap hanging off of it that you catch it on everything coming and going. A stripped-down, lightweight AR fits the bill. With our old eyes, sights and optics are more of a concern or hindrance than the rifle itself sometimes. I tried to bring in some different sight options. Peep and post, notch and post, red dot, LVPO, a regular 3x9x40, and a red dot with a magnifier. Our candidates for ranch rifle are the SKS, M1 Carbine, a lightweight AR, Ruger Mini 14, a Henry Classic Lever 22 Carbine, and a wild card that I'll mention later. Shorty walked through the rifle introductions, and he was sure the M1 Carbine was going to be king. It was light, short, handy. It seemed perfect. Weight was an immediate failing criteria. Here you can see the weights of each of the options. 5.22 pounds for the M1 Carbine, 8.4 pounds for the SKS with spike bayonet. The Ruger Mini 14 with synthetic stock and LVPO weighed in at 7.82 pounds. The Henry Classic Carbine with the 3x9 scope weighed in nearly the same as the lightweight AR with a red dot. Then, before we fired a single shot, we talked noise. The cartridges and barrel lengths would also rule out use. A .22 rimfire would be great. Everything else would be punishing without hearing protection. Next came form. A slim rifle can slide between the split bench seat on Shorty's truck. A shorter rifle is much handier in stow and use. Shorty normally carries the Henry Classic Carbine with the 3x9 scope. It is slim, cheap to shoot, and quiet. The scope at 3x is great for open terrain and can be zoomed in when a sneaky shot through branches needs to be navigated. A lever action has a strong connection for Shorty. The rifleman's show is burned into his head, and also mine. For Shorty, if a .22 lever gun could possibly have a side gate for loading, then another rifle would never be eyed. So it is not just form, fit, and function. There's also a persona, a memory, an identity associated with the ranch rifle. We carry this rifle because we are still cowboys, ranch hands, landowners, caretakers of livestock and property. We have soft reminiscence of westerns, heroes, old men with the bark on. We are still kids. The rifle gets us in the fields. We are not dour fellows. The opportunity to plink will not be ignored. 10 rounds of .22 long rifle is easier to swallow than 10 rounds costing $1 to $2 per round. We used a shot timer to see how fast we could hit an 8-inch plate at 45 yards. As many practice shots desired were taken before the timer came in. The peep sight on the M1 Carbine was an impossible option for Shorty. The gun he thought would initially win was now out. 2.61 seconds to a miss on target. The SKS with its notch and post sight was a little better, but still a miss at 2.4 seconds. The Ruger Mini 14 with LVPO got a hit at 1.98 seconds. The trusted sidekick, Henry Classic Lever with a 3x9 scope, scored a hit at 1.78 seconds. A lightweight AR with a 2 MOA red dot got a hit at 1.56 seconds. And now for the wild card. The Kel-Tec CMR 30 with a 2 MOA red dot. This lightweight collapsible package brought in the best time at 1.2 seconds with a hit. The Kel-Tec CMR has a collapsible stock. It's thin, only weighs 4.7 pounds with the red dot, and carries 30 rounds of .22 Magnum. .22 Magnum is plenty deadly. There are many videos showing some of the .22 mag loadings achieving deep penetration or immediate fragmenting. Removing one of the side charging handles makes it slimmer. If M Carbo is listening, making a folding side charging handle would be awesome. The trigger is already fantastic. Nothing like the P11 of the 90s from Keltec. Loading the CMR magazines can be tricky. I've used a couple different loaders. The Maglula LU34B is the only one that works without fail for me. No rim locks. All 30 rounds are able to be loaded. I advise you to stay away from the 3D printed speed loader options. The CMR 30 comes with a threaded barrel, and using a sub 5-ounce suppressor turns this into a stellar choice. Like all .22 rimfires, keeping the gun clean is important, but you can still take shots of opportunity and plink for fun without cleaning after every use. After shooting the CMR 30 suppressed and unsuppressed, along with all the other ranch rifle options, I asked Shorty which rifle he would take with him. He didn't wrestle with his rifleman memories long. The Henry would get a rest, and the CMR 30 with a shake-awake red dot would be the rifle. I concurred. We got to dig into the safes and shoot a few different things. Today, the wild card won. Some guns are fun and serve a purpose. Coming up, we'll do some pistol work. Each one that we'll bring out will run through the chaos drill for time. A little more shooting action along with stories. Thanks for coming along with me on this one. I learned a lot about Shorty, and it was a real pleasure. Take care.